When you reach the end of life's journey, what thoughts cross your mind? For decades, palliative care nurses, hospice workers, and researchers have documented the reflections of those in their final days. Their insights reveal patterns, common regrets that transcend culture, wealth, and social status. Today, we're exploring the 7 most significant regrets shared by the wisest elderly as they near life's end. This isn't about instilling fear. It's about learning from those who have traveled the road before us. Their wisdom offers us a chance to live without these same regrets. According to research from Cornell University, over 76% of elderly patients express consistent themes of regret, regardless of their background. These aren't just personal disappointments. They represent fundamental human needs left unfulfilled. Stay with me as we explore these 7 insights that may help you reorient your priorities before it's too late to change course. Regret 1: working too much and missing life's precious moments. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This statement echoes through hospice care facilities worldwide. According to palliative care nurse Bronnie Ware, who documented her patients' reflections in the top 5 regrets of the dying, this regret topped the list for virtually every male patient she encountered. Consider Thomas, a 94-year-old former executive. In his final weeks, he could recall detailed business transactions from 50 years prior, but struggled to remember his children's school performances. "I built a fortune for my family," he confessed, "but I wasn't there to enjoy it with them. Now it's too late to buy back that time." Research from Harvard Business School found that when surveying people over 65, not a single person said they wished they had spent more time at the office. Yet most admitted they had prioritized work over relationships and personal joy throughout their most productive years. What drives this common regret? Often, it's a misunderstanding of what creates a fulfilling life. Many believe that working longer hours will lead to greater success, which will eventually translate to happiness. However, research from positive psychology has consistently shown this formula to be flawed. A study following over 700 individuals from their careers through retirement found that past a moderate income threshold, additional working hours had almost no impact on life satisfaction in later years. What did matter? The quality of personal relationships and time spent on meaningful, non-work activities. If you're still in your working years, consider creating non-negotiable time for family and personal pursuits. Recognize that no one on their deathbed wishes they had answered more emails or attended more meetings. Even for those already retired, this insight remains valuable as many retirees continue filling their schedules with busyness rather than meaningful connection. Regret 2: not having the courage to express true feelings. The second most common regret centers around emotional honesty. Many elderly individuals express profound regret about suppressing their true feelings throughout life, both positive and negative emotions, to maintain peace or conform to perceived expectations. Margaret, at 86, spent her final months reviewing letters she had written but never sent. "I never told James I loved him," she shared with her caregiver. "I never told my sister I forgave her. I lived a life of polite silence, and now all those people are gone without ever knowing my heart." Research from the University of California suggests that unexpressed emotions and suppressed authentic self-expression correlate strongly with increased rates of depression, anxiety, and even physical ailments. The psychological burden of constantly filtering one's true self creates what researchers call emotional labor, which takes a measurable toll on well-being. For many elderly today, especially those raised in the early to mid-20th century, emotional restraint was considered a virtue. Men were taught that vulnerability signaled weakness, while women were often conditioned to prioritize others' comfort over their own emotional needs. What can we learn from this regret? Emotional honesty, expressed with respect, strengthens rather than damages important relationships. Starting small with more authentic self-expression builds the courage for bigger truths. As one 91-year-old woman advised, "Tell the people you love that you love them. Tell the truth even when it's difficult. Your words may cause momentary discomfort, but silence can lead to eternal regret." If you're finding this information valuable so far, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue providing content that can genuinely improve people's lives. Regret 3. Not staying connected with friends and loved ones. The third significant regret centers around lost connections. Many express profound sadness about relationships they allowed to fade away through neglect, busyness, or petty disagreements. Research from the Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest-running studies on happiness, concluded that close relationships, more than money or fame, are what keep people happy throughout their lives. These ties protect people from life's discontents, delay mental and physical decline, and are better predictors of long and happy lives than social class, IQ, or even genes. Yet maintaining these connections requires intentional effort, something many realize too late. John, an 88-year-old former professor, expressed this clearly. "We get caught up in living, thinking there will always be time later to reconnect. Then suddenly you're my age, and half the people you meant to call again are gone forever." In today's connected world, social media offers unprecedented opportunities to maintain relationships across distance. However, research has found that these connections often provide only a shallow substitute for deeper engagement. Many elderly who embraced technology reported feeling connected but alone, having hundreds of online connections, but few people who truly knew them. What can we learn from those who discovered this regret too late? Prioritize regular, meaningful contact with a core group of important people rather than superficial contact with many. Recognize that relationships require maintenance, regular investment of time, and emotional energy. Understand that reconciliation is almost always worth the discomfort. Very few end-of-life patients express gratitude for maintaining estrangement. Regret 4. Not living true to oneself, but according to others' expectations. The fourth major regret involves living a life dictated by others' expectations, rather than personal, authentic desires. This regret surfaces frequently among those who followed prescribed paths, career choices made to please parents, life decisions that conform to social norms, or personal compromises made to meet others' approval. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This sentiment reflects the painful recognition that many of life's most important choices were made to satisfy external expectations rather than internal calling. Research found that deathbed regret around unlived authentic life was particularly strong among individuals who had clear alternative visions for their lives, but chose safer, more conventional paths. The musician who became an accountant, the would-be entrepreneur who stayed in corporate employment, the aspiring artist who chose a practical career, all expressed variations of this same fundamental regret. For many in the oldest generations, powerful social and economic pressures often restricted personal choice. Clara, at 97, reflected, "In my day, women became teachers, nurses, or secretaries. I wanted to study architecture. Everyone said it wasn't for women, and eventually, I believed them. Now I see women designing skyscrapers, and I wonder what might have been." What wisdom can we extract from this common regret? Even small steps toward authentic self-expression can reduce the likelihood of this end-of-life regret. It's never too late to incorporate elements of your true desires into your life, even if the original dream has passed. Pay attention to feelings of envy. They often signal paths not taken that still hold meaning. Regret 5. Not allowing oneself to be happier. Perhaps the most surprising common regret is the recognition that happiness is, to a significant degree, a choice, one that many people fail to make until it's too late. Many elderly express regret about the years spent in worry, negativity, or fear, only to realize that much of their unhappiness was self-imposed. This regret reflects a profound realization. Many people don't recognize that happiness is largely a habitual state of mind, rather than a result of circumstances. Research indicates that while approximately 50% of our happiness baseline is genetically determined and 10% is circumstantial, around 40% comes from intentional activities and practices within our control. Eleanor, a 91-year-old former teacher, expressed this poignantly. "I spent decades worried about things that never happened, offended by comments that weren't meant to hurt, and fixated on problems rather than blessings. I couldn't see that happiness was available all along." Many older adults report having been raised with cultural messages that viewed positivity with suspicion. Phrases like, "Don't get your hopes up," or "Life isn't meant to be easy," created a mindset that happiness was either naive or temporary, hardly worth pursuing actively. What can we learn from those who regret not choosing happiness sooner? Gratitude practices have been scientifically shown to increase happiness levels, yet few implement them until taught to do so late in life. Mindfulness and present moment awareness counteract the tendency to dwell on past regrets or future anxieties. Social connection, physical activity, time in nature, and service to others all correlate strongly with increased happiness levels. Regret 6. Not having the courage to address and heal broken relationships. The sixth significant regret involves unresolved conflict and broken relationships. Many elderly individuals express profound regret about estrangements that were never reconciled, apologies never offered or accepted, and relationships that ended with unfinished business. Dr. Ira Byock, a palliative care physician, has observed that unresolved relationships create some of the most intense suffering at life's end. Through decades of work with dying patients, he identified 4 statements people most need to express before death. "Please forgive me," "I forgive you," "Thank you," and "I love you." The inability to express these sentiments creates what grief specialists call complicated grief, a particularly painful form of regret that combines loss with unresolved conflict. Research from Stanford University's Forgiveness Project found that holding grudges has measurable negative effects on physical health, including increased stress hormones, elevated blood pressure, and compromised immune function. Yet many maintain these costly positions out of pride or the mistaken belief that reconciliation equates to condoning past wrongs. Maria, age 86, shared, "My sister and I didn't speak for 20 years over a disagreement about our parents' care. She died suddenly before we reconciled. I would give anything for 1 hour with her now to say what needed to be said." What can we learn? Reconciliation doesn't necessarily mean resuming a relationship exactly as it was. It can simply mean reaching peace. Written communication can sometimes bridge gaps when face-to-face conversation feels too difficult. Even one-sided forgiveness provides significant psychological benefits. Regret 7. Not taking better care of their health while it was easier to do so. The final common regret centers around health, specifically the realization that many health problems faced in advanced age could have been prevented through better self-care earlier in life. Research has found that approximately 60% of the quality of life limiting conditions in older adults show strong correlations with lifestyle factors throughout adulthood. Yet many people operate with present bias, the tendency to choose immediate rewards over long-term benefits. Robert, an 83-year-old dealing with multiple preventable health conditions, expressed, "When I was younger, taking care of my health seemed optional. Now I realize it was an investment in my future freedom. I would give anything to go back and make different choices when it was easier to do so." This health-related regret extends beyond physical well-being. Many elderly express regret about not addressing mental health concerns, managing stress, or developing psychological resilience when these challenges were more responsive to intervention. Research from the Yale School of Public Health found that adults who engaged in positive health behaviors in midlife reported significantly higher satisfaction with their quality of life in old age, not just because of better physical health, but also due to greater self-efficacy and confidence in their ability to manage challenges. What wisdom about health can we gather? Consistent small choices often have greater long-term impact than dramatic short-term health initiatives. Movement is medicine. Physical activity remains one of the most powerful preventive health measures available. Mental and emotional health deserves as much attention as physical health. The best health insurance is often behavior, not a policy. Conclusion: transforming regret into wisdom. As we reflect on these 7 common regrets, a unifying theme emerges: the recognition, often too late, of what truly matters. Work achievements fade, material possessions lose their luster, but relationships, authentic living, chosen happiness, and health remain the true currencies of a well-lived life. The power of these insights lies not in their complexity, but in their simplicity. Most of us already know intuitively that these elements matter, yet knowing isn't the same as living according to that knowledge. How can we honor this hard-earned wisdom and avoid arriving at life's end with these same regrets? Regular reflection. Take time periodically to review your life direction against these common regrets. Prioritize consciously. When making decisions, consider the perspective of your future self looking back. Act on awareness. Knowledge without action creates its own form of regret. Share this wisdom. One of the greatest gifts we can give each other is the perspective that comes from these end-of-life insights. As Bronnie Ware observed, when faced with mortality, people's clarity on what truly matters sharpens dramatically, but you don't have to wait for that moment to benefit from this clarity. Thank you for staying with me through this exploration of life's most significant regrets. If this content has touched you, please subscribe and like this video. The greatest honor we can give to those who have shared their end-of-life wisdom is to live differently because of what they've taught us.